Thomas. Thank you so much for agreeing to spend this 5 minutes with me today, and asking and answering the question, does a winner wear a crown? So, does a winner wear a crown, and how do you spot one?
I think for me, any change person, they wear a crown. I don't think I necessarily distinguish because you've got an award or certificate, etc. I think for me, anyone who's in that space, because we know it's not easy. It's not easy, and I think it's the recognition of what we provide, the value we add, is not always recognized. So I think anyone who's in that space, for me, it's a winner because I think we're all trying to make a difference. And for me, it really comes back to the fact that um, we need to be much more human centered. I think we need to focus much more on people. And I think anyone who steps into that area for me and take that leap, for me, it's a winner. It's that they on something, and yeah, for me, that's definitely a winner for me.
And you are also a judge for the Change Awards, and you have been a judge for Change Awards 2023, and also
Yeah.
supporting us now in 2024. So I do wonder from your perspective, because I've done this small survey on LinkedIn, and I've asked people if they think that they're good enough to apply for a Change Awards. And some of them said to me, no, they don't think that they are good enough. And I do wonder from your perspective, from Thomas' perspective, but also from the perspective of Thomas as a judge in the Change Awards, what can you tell them to change their mind?
I think for me it comes back to if we have a good story to tell, I think we need to get it out there. I think we need to be careful not falling victim to the kind of language we've always been exposed to, because we always hear our change is an add-on, or we always come back into any project very late on in the process. We never always get a seat at the table. I got 20 years experience in this field, and I can absolutely say it's absolutely wrong. I think we do have a voice, and I think like everybody else, if you're invited to be part of any engagement, people they give you a voice, and I think you need to use it. So for me, it's just do it. What's the worst that can happen? I think we all learn, and I think as a judge, I was quite impressed with the contributions I saw last year. I'm really excited about what we're going to see this year. But I think there were some really good cases in there, and I learned a lot personally. I know the other judges probably learned quite a lot as well. And I think if we don't get to see what's going on out there, how can we spread the message? How can we learn? So I think, it's take that step, just do it, and you got absolutely nothing to lose. And I think there's a massive environment out there that can learn from your experience. So I think I would say it's your obligation really to share what you're doing and just not just hide it, So keep shouting from a rooftop. I think we all need to do that a lot more. I think we're too humble. I think this in our area of practitioners, I think we were sometimes too humble. I think we should shout a little bit more, because I think we are much more in the driving seat that people they actually expect us to be, because it's always driven by technology or it's driven by process optimization. But actually, when it comes down to it, it's driven by people, So I think we should shout very loud about this.
I like that. We should shout very loud. But I also really like what you said about being in the driving seat, because I know that you do wonder, and I also do wonder myself. There is a broader use of the change management than just to support a project delivery. So just to support, for example, the change of, I don't know, a digital change or technology change or process change. There is this broader use. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I can. I think that's a really good question. I think, as I just alluded to, we tend to come in at the back end, but once a project's actually been kicked off, and as I said, in most cases these days it's driven by technology. But I think the problem we have is we do not really ask the right questions. What are the problems we're trying to solve? What are we trying to do that's different? How are we going to try to help either customers or users? And I think from my perspective, change practitioner needs to be in there, because we need to have that aspect. And just look at, to give you a good example, if we look at Formula One, it's, I love that, because so of course they do a lot of innovation all the time, and you've got people all the way up front, because it's not just about data, but you also talk to the drivers, which for me are the users. So we constantly get feedback. So you need to have these change people involved from the beginning, because we need to apply that. But what I really love about that sport is sometimes your window to make improvement is so short. And it's not just about just changing the car setup or the new engine or whatever it is. It's also about the people that sits in the cockpit and drive the car. So take, if we go back to Formula One, whenever they do the pit stop, if they are not hitting their 2.9 seconds, which they're aiming for, what's going to happen? They're not going to go and say, let's rechange the whole process. What they're looking at is the people focus. So they start looking themselves, okay, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? What can we do better next time? Because milliseconds is a difference whether you win a race or not. And I like that, because it really goes back to, we need to engage a lot more with the humans, or the people that we actually doing change for. So for me, we got to be in there. We got to be upfront. Once even we start talking about what a problem could be, you got to have your change practitioners in there, because we can drive some different conversations, and we can help scoping out and make sure we actually solving the right problem. So I'm always very conscious of that. We got to have to change the conversation, and not just being about technology. We need to go back and have a much more human-centered focus on what we do.
I really like that. Thank you so much, Thomas, for providing that view. And the last question, proven to be the most interesting one, at least to me, and also very difficult to complete in 30 seconds. But in 30 seconds, what is the future of change management?
I think the future of change management is going to be quite bright. I think we are now at an impasse where people, they start to understand the difference we can make. And also I think we can help people solve the right problems. So, because we get scared. So take AI as a good example. We think, oh, it's going to replace jobs. I think we're going to add much more value in that space, because we're going to look at what the workforce is going to look like in the future. What are the skills we need to develop? How are we going to create added value to customers, to users, etc.? This is not going to be answered by technology. It's not going to be answered by just data. We need to have that human element. So I still think we have a bright future, and I think they're starting to become more recognition. So we're not just an add-on. We are an integrated and a driving part of any engagement for a company who wants to constantly change and evolve.
And innovate. So
And
if you want
innovate,
to
absolutely spot on.
there you go. If you want to continuously change, evolve, and innovate, you need to have that human-centric aspect in the driving seat. All right, Thomas. Lovely chatting to you, and thank you so much for the conversation.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to all the applications we're going to have to review very soon. And I'm looking forward to award in April.